Well, the question is then whether this kind of censorship or this ban that the government has been trying to enforce on this film, no matter what the views may be, I'm sure there are people who've seen it who didn't like it. There are others who feel that it's a brilliant piece of work. Whatever the issues may be, is this kind of censorship justified? We've got two eminent lawyers in the studio with us. We have Vrinda Grover here. We've got Sanjay Hegde. Also with us, Chetan Bhagat there joining us from Mumbai. We've got Sambit Patra of the BJP also joining us tonight. Let me take this question to you first, Chetan. You actually did watch the film and you tweeted this morning that you said it was extraordinary, it was moving and thought-provoking. Therefore, does it surprise you, the kind of reaction that has come from the government to ask YouTube to take it down, to serve a legal notice to the BBC? You know, why are we all reading different messages here?
Okay, so there's two things here. Firstly, I did watch the film while it was easily available on YouTube India. I don't know what the status is now. And I personally liked the film a lot. I think it's one of the best documentaries I've seen. And it's very moving and it's very thought-provoking. It's it's bone-chilling almost, the way an unrepentant criminal, the lawyers on the other side, the way they put across their point of view. You kind of know such attitudes exist, but when someone actually says it, someone who actually did a crime says it, it's very bone-chilling. Also, because Nirbhaya's parents cooperated in the film, it's very touching, it's very moving whenever they come on board. So I like the film. Now, having said that, I'm not saying everybody should like it. Maybe some people found it patronizing, some people didn't like it, and that's okay. So you can condemn it, you can criticize it, but how can you ban it? I mean, banning something is in the same category as lack of consent, and it's denial of individual rights. We have to decide. We are a democracy, and if we are a democracy, for once decide that, and let's stop banning things every day. I think it's done. The ban noises are made because it's a easy political points for the government, because solving the whole issue of crimes against women is a very big ask. You have to really change society. But saying let's ban a documentary allows you to come across as, hey, you're doing something about it. But in this case, they've got it wrong, because it's a very, very sensitive documentary. It's far more sensitive than any debates, those angry debates that happen on TV, where there is no sensitivity at all, and those are more exploitative, I feel. This is done by somebody who was a rape victim herself, and I think she's done a beautiful job.
Okay, well, Shabana Azmi, I don't know if you've had a chance to also to watch this documentary, but just on this point of censorship, I mean, maybe you watched it and you didn't like it, but should it be taken off the internet? Is it something that we shouldn't get a choice, that we as citizens, as adults in this country, shouldn't get a choice to decide what we should and shouldn't see?
Firstly, I have seen the documentary and I was extremely moved by it. I thought it was a very powerful film. I did not think in any way that it was patronizing. In fact, I do believe, like Chetan, that what it does is make you aware, bone-chillingly, the attitudes that exist in our society, because many people will see that they actually mirror the views that are expressed by Mukesh Singh, and even more frighteningly by his defense lawyers. There is no way that you can lionize the criminal. All it would do in audiences is to create such a sense of repulsion that you would re-examine any of the beliefs that people have, which is in a patriarchal, misogynist society where you believe that it is the woman who is to bear the blame of being brutalized. I do believe that when you're talking about remedying horrific crimes, then it is very important to examine the horrific mindset that underlies that crimes, and only then can we move towards remedy. We cannot, by banning a film like this, hope to move anywhere towards solutions, because it's a very unfortunate choice to say that. In no way does the film lionize the criminal. And I think what it does is makes people examine, my God, but I also think that women shouldn't go out late in the night. I also think that wearing revealing clothes is what caused. And then you start revisiting your own values. So I think banning it firstly makes no sense, because it's available to all. The minute you banned it, everybody went on YouTube and watched the film, which they might not have otherwise.
Yeah, and even if you ban it on YouTube, there are plenty of other links out there in cyberspace which is allowing people to access it. But Shabana Azmi, the point is, there is a minister in the government, a senior minister, who says that this is a conspiracy to defame India. And that is being repeated today by some parliamentarians. The point is, where is this anger misplaced? What is defaming India? This violence that we perpetrate against women, or this film? That's the question.
Well, exactly. So your question is the answer. What we should be outraged by is the violence we see completely perpetrated time and again, because we are still to rid ourselves of a patriarchal structure which is basically misogynist. That is what should be rallying against, not showing the film. To say that this defames India, I do not buy that at all. In fact, what I think the film does is celebrate the spirit of India, celebrate the spirit of those young boys and girls who unrelentingly force the government to put the Justice Verma Commission into place.
Yeah.
I think when you say that it is defaming India, you are doing grave injustice to the parents of Jyoti, of Nirbhaya, who've had the courage to come out because they want to put a stop to it. I think you are defaming the young boys and girls who forced India to take a stand on this issue.
So Sambit Patra, as the representative of the BJP here tonight, Sambit, why the ban? Why is there this, what seems to be a knee-jerk reaction to this, that, oh, let's just take the film off air, let's just take it down from the internet, let's ban it, let's go after the BBC, how dare they show this film? Why aren't you letting people decide if they want to see it and whether they like it or not?
See, Nidhi, there are a few important things which I believe I should bring to the stage at the very beginning. Number A, this is no ban by the government. There is a restraint order by a respected court of Delhi. And the Delhi police under certain sections, section 505, section 504, section 66 and few other sections went to the court. The court gave a restraint order. I believe the case is still continuing. FIRs have been filed. We have to wait for the court to deliver its final order. But as of now, it's a restraint order. Standing on this restraint order,
but did the police do it suo moto?
No, that is not important.
Did the police do it suo moto?
No,
that is important.
Nidhi,
that is
it is
important.
not.
Where did the police
Nidhi,
get the sanction to do this?
Nidhi, you have to allow me to answer.
Who's asking you those questions, not me. But go ahead, Sambit. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, Shabana ji, I could not hear your voice. The answer to this is, it is not important whether the police did it suo moto or anyone asked the police to do it. It is important what the court decided. And I, as a politician,
Rajnath Singh stood up in Parliament yesterday and said that we will not allow the broadcast of this film and we will go and tell other countries not to broadcast it either. That's hardly a secret what the government stand is. Let's not hide behind the court here. If you guys believe that this is a film that should be banned, then say it should be banned. Defend it. Give us the logic for it.
We are discussing the constitution of this country.
Not really. We're just discussing why the government wants to do censorship.
Nidhi, I would be able to answer the question. My God, I would be able to answer questions if I am given the time to answer. If you want me to be a silent spectator, I am ready for that also without any complaints. You decide first and let me know about that.
Please answer the question, Sambit. The point is that the government doesn't want this film to be shown. That's been very clearly articulated by the Home Minister. My question is why? Why don't you let people decide whether they like the film or don't like the film? Why ban it? Why say that? Why send the BBC a notice? Why say that don't want it to be seen all over the world? Why?
Why did you move?
I got your question.
Yeah,
this was
they
the
moved
first
the court
question.
for a ban.
Let me answer.
Yeah.
Let me answer. First, as of now, I was answering the technical part of the question where the ban or the so-called restraint order was brought by the court for reasons best known to the court.
Secondly, now coming to the sensitivity
and it didn't just come down from some
court.
cloud onto the court.
Nidhi, I believe you are trying to cap the voice of a participant, to which I object. I was never interfering when any respectable member was speaking. If you want me not to speak, I have no problem at all, Nidhi. Decide and let me know.
Sambit Patra, you are being asked questions to which you are not giving answers. I think if you are uncomfortable with the questions, you let us know you don't want to answer them. It's a very simple question. Why is the government so keen to ban this film? Why don't you want people to see this film?
Nidhi, let me show some mirror also. more than what the government does, it is a fight between the media houses now. So please don't try to vent your anger within the media houses to the government. I was answering what the government is doing. What the government is doing is there is a technical stand and there is a sensible stand as well. Sensitivity and sensibility is involved as far as women issues is concerned. You yourself had seen in the relay of the live telecast from Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha as to how cutting across party lines, parliamentarians and people of repute of this country, the lawmakers of this country had a view. Women organizations had a view. People had a view that there are two things. No, answer. I'm answering, get the answer. There are two things. One, the permission was granted with certain clauses that this would be used for a case study and not for a commercial exploit.
That's not
and
correct.
As such, the information brought... This is correct.
No, it's
this
not.
This is correct.
We have the documents.
We have all the documents. I can show them to you.
You cannot...
You're digressing from the subject.
You can show that to me, but Nidhi...
We're digressing from the topic.
Should rape be used? Should rape be used as commercial exploits? This is a question that I throw to everyone else.
Have you seen the film, Mr. Patra?
If no, I have not seen the film.
So then on what basis are, like you, that you know, it's not personal about you, Sambit, but they're like you. There are many MPs yesterday who spoke in Parliament. I can bet you 9 out of 10 of them have not even seen the film. All of us, many of us here on this panel, myself included, we have seen the film. So why don't you let people judge, make a judgment after watching it? Why is the government deciding for everybody else?
Nidhi, you mean to say that the court also is to be put under blame? Can you put as a person,
Ms. Nidhi
Razdan, I ask
Who went to the court? Who went to the court?
I'm
not the Home Minister who stood up in Parliament. It was the Home Minister of India.
The court cannot be dictated. The court cannot be dictated. If the court says that a restraint order, no one can put words in the mouth of the court, or no one can put ink in the pen of the court.
I'm just saying,
if
you guys want to ban it, please defend it better.
Sambit, this is Sanjay Hegde. Sambit, this is Sanjay Hegde. I'm just telling you that a court does not pass an order unless somebody asks and makes a case for it. You as the government, upon these Home Ministers say so, went and moved the Patiala House Court and said, please restrain this movie. Without that, the Patiala House Court would not have done anything. You please take actions for what you have, please take responsibility for the actions that you have taken.
Defend them.
In court. Now, please, listen, you're weakening your own government's case. You're weakening your own government's case when you now say that it is the court which did it.
Issue also, and I have been speaking otherwise as well. So both the issues have to be picked up. On technical grounds, the Patiala court, you are a senior Supreme Court lawyer. But can the Patiala court be dictated by the government? The Patiala court could have rejected. No.
Would the Patiala court have passed an order without the government asking it? That's the question. That is the question.
Unless you ask for an order to get it.
Absolutely simple.
What are we talking about?
Who goes to the court is not important. What the court says is ultimately the important issue. The court has dictated this. The court says restraint.
I don't understand the argument.
See, you are the client. You are the client who went to the court and asked, sir, please ban this film. Otherwise, the heavens will fall.
Why have you sent a legal notice
saying so, without the government solemnly telling the court would not have passed that order.
One second. You know, Vrinda Grover is here.
No,
now,
Sanjay,
Vrinda has a lot of problems
if I go to the court and say that you hang the person just because heavens would fall if you don't hang a person, will the court heed to my saying?
One second.
Yeah, I'll answer it in my turn. Let Vrinda take over.
Vrinda is someone here who has a lot of issues with this film, and Vrinda, yet you feel censoring or banning in this way was not the answer either, right?
Absolutely, and particularly the rationale that has been expressed by the government in Parliament. They have said that this is going to defame the image of India. We have put out a letter. That letter has been addressed to NDTV and it is now available in public domain.
We talk about that in a bit, yeah.
Definitely not proposing that the state intervenes through this mode, giving this ground. The state is not discharging its duties and obligations towards women. The state ought to be ashamed that violence against women continues, that sexual violence against women continues, and no steps have been taken there. We are not asking that let's conceal and this is an internal Indian issue and we are going to solve it here. That is not at all the feminist position on this. We are defending human rights. In this case, we have said Temporarily, it should not be telecast till legal proceedings are ongoing. We'll discuss that a little later, because there are other human rights also which are being jeopardized, and there are legal and judicial processes that are ongoing. But I absolutely do not concur with the position that the government has taken or the reasoning given by the government.
Chetan Bhagat, you want to come in on what the defense that Sambit Patra has offered there on the censorship issue? Chetan?
I actually didn't, I mean, what can I say? I mean, you can't ban things, you know. You can't, you're in a democracy, you have to think 1,000 times. I mean, if someone is provoking someone to murder somebody or something like that, which becomes a crime, that's different. Someone has a point of view, even if you say it's a sick point of view, condemn it. You say it's awful, it's worst, it's disgusting, it's the worst thing I ever saw. But you can't ban it. And the ban never works these days. The technology today doesn't allow you to ban things, you know. Forget this film, there's things like 50 Shades of Grey, which is a commercial movie, Hollywood movie. I saw kids today forwarding it to each other on their phones. I mean, it's just not possible. So, and in fact, that spoils India's image more. And you know, this documentary actually is the wrong one to pick anyway. Even if it was disgusting, you shouldn't ban it. But this one is so sensitively done, I think you should show it to everybody. I really feel this is a tool we have to show men that you shouldn't do it.
Look, if Brinda has a problem with it, she has a problem with it after seeing it. She's entitled to have that opinion. There are people who like the movie. If they've seen it, they have that opinion. The problem is, Sanjay Hegde, that people haven't seen it and they've made up their minds.
I just want to say one thing about, just a half a minute.
On the banning issue.
On the banning. Freedom of speech and expression, even under Indian constitutional right, is not an absolute right. There are reasonable restrictions imposed by the Constitution. If there is something that amounts to hate speech, if there is something that is causing disaffection and disharmony, if there is something that is inciting violence, there is a space to curtail it, and law and constitution allows that.
Okay, and whether that comes into that, we're going to talk about that in a minute.
We'll talk about that later. But I think the government has doubly defamed India. Firstly, the situation on the ground as far as women has not improved. Now, add to that, you have made us into a North Korea and Iran or a Pakistan which says ban everything that we do not like, restrict our citizens from watching what they want. The government is the sole purveyor of what the people are bound, can think, can watch, can eat or can worship. That is the dangerous route down banning everything that this government is now embarked on. Every day we have a ban on beef. We now have a ban on movies. Please tell us what all can we do, Mr. Patra. You stand for the government. Tell us what is allowed, or are you going to ban maybe people with grey hair?
If I can speak, then I would tell.
Maybe you should ban TV debates. That might end everyone's problems. Yes,
no,
Sambit, go
I'll
ahead.
tell you. I'll show you something. I'll tell you something very important. I was listening to Ms. Vrinda Grover right now. And only a few days ago, I participated with Ms. Grover on debates of the NGO versus government, if you remember, where Priya Pillai was to go out of the country and was to depose in United Kingdom against India.
And you banned her
freedom.
freedom.
And she was deboarded the plane.
Absolutely.
And
one more ban.
Not banned her freedom. We saved the country. Vrinda Grover, you have been trying your best to
have you read Maneka Gandhi?
You have been trying your best to defame this country. Please. Don't pounce on me like that. I was quiet all the time.
Let him finish.
I was listening to both of you.
Ask what happened when her
I
passport
was quiet
taken away.
both the time, listening to all
let
of
Sambit
you
finish.
very
Okay,
patiently.
Sambit, please, you go ahead.
You are celebrated. You are celebrated lawyers. I expect some civility from both of you.
Okay, so you are saving the country
Yes.
by stopping Priya
everything.
Pillai, from banning movies, from banning cuss words, from banning documentaries.
No. So your
Let's get back to this.
definition of country may be, Nidhi, your definition of country may be very different. Our definition of country is very different.
What does that
When the
mean?
terror boat was happening, there were people in this country who were supporting the Pakistani side. When Priya Pillai was going, just a second, please
Shabana Azmi,
don't.
I'm sorry, but that's very offensive.
I have not
Is
completed.
everybody who is against banning and censorship unpatriotic? What is that argument, Sambit?
I have not completed, ma'am. Please let me complete my view. Thereafter, you can have a counter view. And I hold everyone in respect over here. They're all esteemed people of this country. But I also have entitlement of my view. My view is...
Are you saving
yes,
India by
if
banning this
Pillai
documentary? That's what you're saying?
Did I complete my view? Did I complete my view for you to derive the inferences? I have not completed. No, you have just asked, I have not said it. I am saying it, hear it. One, there are two parts. If you had a case study, if United Kingdom, BBC or anyone wanted to have a case study on the rapist of Nirbhaya or anyone, no problem. The world is an open globe where you can go have a case study, psychological study, as was a permission sought for. No problem. But you have an interview and the interview is used for a commercial purpose, for the runs of TRP, then well, yes, this country has a problem. How can you use the women's sensibilities for TRP issues? It may be the best documentary of the world. No problems. I have not seen the documentary. But I listen to two very eminent personalities. They might be right. I don't know. They are great eminent. Chetan is an eminent personality. Shabana Azmi is a great personality. They must be right. I have not seen the movie. But then, you cannot exploit sensibilities of India for your commercial runs. How do you know the sensibilities have been exploited when you haven't seen it? I just want to bring in Mr. N. Ram, who's also joining us from Chennai, and Mr. Ram has also had a chance to see the film, which is why I wanted those who had a chance to see to be actually able to comment on what we're talking about. Mr. Ram, let's just talk about this point of censorship. Do you really believe that this film, after you've seen it, has in any way exploited the issue, that it has been voyeuristic? You're entitled to that view if that's what you think, but do you believe that's what it did?
I think one has to have a very perverted mindset to see in this film anything that is voyeuristic or anything that, all the allegations made in the advisory and in the press release issued by the Economic Offences Wing, that it may lead to violence against women, it will make women feel vulnerable, it will lead to law and order problems, even violence against women and so on, and it's absurd. The film is powerful, sensitive, and in the end it is inspiring. It is not the story of Mukesh Singh, the rapist and killer, convicted. It is largely the story. It is a wonderful story of this young woman, Jyoti Singh, who comes alive. And I think the central people in this whole documentary are the parents, Jyoti's parents, who bring her alive. And it's, they're so different from traditional people. They come from, a difficult background. But here is somebody who wanted to show the world, first prove to herself that she, to be a girl is, you can do a lot. A girl could do anything, as they say in that film. And I think the variety of opinions brought out and the way it has been handled, it's a remarkably powerful film. A film that, you'll have to be perverted to think that this is meant to, the motive at least, apart from the content, is to unleash, to do bad things, is to unleash violence and so on women and to create trouble in society. Okay. On the other hand, on the contrary,
before
it is a powerful statement.
Yeah. Before I ask Vrinda why, there is a section of the women's movement who actually opposed the film, and she'll explain that, in detail. But Shabana Azmi, what Mr. Ram actually said also stood out when I saw the film, is the extraordinary courage of the parents who've actually supported the film even after this whole controversy has broken out. They have said today again that they had no problem with the film being telecast, and it's incredible that they were showing pictures of their daughter, talking about her. There was no shame there. They spoke about her with great pride. I think that was something that at least stood out for me when I saw it. I don't know if that is something you caught on to as well.
That is precisely the point that I made earlier, Nidhi, that in fact it is a celebration of the parents' struggle and their spirit. What has happened in the wake of the Nirbhaya case is really, for the first time, young men and women got together and said, shift the shame, shift the blame. put it on the perpetrator and not on the victim, which was a very important thing that came out of it. That is precisely the point that the film makes. I agree with everything that N. Ram has said about the film. Now, I will appreciate that Vrinda has a completely different point of view about what kind of film it is, and each one of us in India have a right to either think this way or that way. That cannot lead to the film being banned. The political dispensation of the day cannot judge the morality of the country.